To center a drawing, you first have to think about the overall size of this drawing, and then how it's going to be oriented in an orthographic drawing or a multi-view drawing. So remember, we have the front view, the right side view, and the top view. So we have to consider its width and depth in horizontal orientation, and we have to consider its height and depth when we're considering its vertical orientation or its spacing. Now also, there's a space on the left of it, in between the views, and to the right of it. There's also a space below, in the middle, and to the top. So, it's first good to understand what size of a drawing space you have to work within. So take a measurement, that way you can subtract the remainder to figure out what you have to work with. So we have a 9 5/8, I'm going to just round to 9 1/2. So our horizontal is 9.5. Our vertical space, we're looking at between the border lines, so basically the space we have to draw within, 6 1/2. Alright. Then we have to consider what the space is that we are working with in either orientation or either direction. So we have to take the width and the depth and add them together to understand what we're dealing with the horizontal. So the width of our object here is 4, plus the depth, which is 1.5, and we have 5.5. So we're going to subtract 5.5, I'll just put it right here, from the 9.5. So the half cancels each other out, and we're left with 4 inches. We're going to do the same thing for vertical. We are dealing with the height of the object and the depth of the object. So we take the height, which is 2.5, we add the depth, it's 1.5, alright, so it's 3, and we have 4. So now we subtract 4 from 6.5, and we're left with 2.5. So these remainders is going to be divvied up with the spaces. I'm going to make this easy and just make this space in the middle 1 inch. So subtract that 1 inch, we'll call that middle space, and we are left with a remainder of 3 inches for the horizontal distance, and we're left with 1.5. So this is going to be a 1, and this is going to be a 1. So the remainder is then divided by, you guessed it, 2 for the top and the bottom, and the left and the right. So I'm going to divide both of these by 2, and that will give me my spaces on either end. So this will be 1.5, and this will be 0.75. And we have these two numbers. So all the numbers that are important right now, we have the width of our object is 4, the height of our object 2.5, and the depth of our object is 1.5. Now let's just talk about if we're laying out this thing in a horizontal format. So this is horizontal. We have the width, so we're going to have, let's break it down this way. We first have the space, which if I'm looking at the horizontal spacing, my first space is going to be 1.5. And then I have this width, which is 4. Then I have the middle space, which I said, let's make it easy and make it 1. Then we have the depth, which is 1.5. And then we have the last space again, which should be symmetrical, so it's another 1.5. If you tally that up, it should equal this horizontal spacing, which it does, 9.5. Alright, so now let's do the vertical. So we're dealing with the first space, the height, the middle space, the depth, and the other space on the top. So first, the spaces we decided, or that we found by subtraction in division, is 0.75. Then we add the height, which is 2.5. Then we add the middle space, which is 1. Then we're looking at the depth, which is 1.5. And then the top space, which again is 0.75, and that should equal our vertical space right here, 6.5. All right, so that's an easy way to check our work. So when laying out our drawing, just like so a little bit, I know exactly where everything should be. So I'm going to treat this as if it were just a cube. We can ignore the little cutout for now, and we'll just lay out what's called the envelope. All right, so first, just horizontal spacing. I'm just going to give myself some tick marks. All right, so first is 1.5. Then our object is 4. We can see it here, 4 inches. Then we have that 1 inch space, so 1 inch. And then we have the depth, which is 1.5. And then we have the right side, which is 1.5, which adds up. You'll notice it's an eighth off because I rounded the 9 and 5/8. All right, so from here, I can block in my vertical measurements. Now we need to measure our vertical spacing. So first we have a 0.75, then we have 2.5 for the height, then we have a 1 inch space, just jump to 3.5, and the depth, 1.5. And we should be left with the top space, which is 0.75. So now I can just block in all the horizontal lines. And the reason I'm not drawing across the whole sheet is because now that I know where the horizontal lines go, I basically get 3 blocks here. So my front view, right side view, top view. And now I can start actually drawing this out. So if I want to draw them as object lines instead of just construction lines, I could actually start this. I'm going to avoid that cutout again, that detail, just so you can see this and it shows up in the video. Alright, so front, top, right. Now, to deal with this, I know the measurements are right here. So, from this side, it comes in 1.5. Mark that. And I can give myself a construction line. And I'm going to approach this in front view because I can see all of the details in front view, and then I can project that information to the other 2 views. So if I give myself a construction line, I know that this notch comes into this line. Now I need the height of that notch and its location. The height of the notch, it's basically a 1 inch gap, but it's 3/4 off the top surface. So I'm going to put my ruler at the top. I'm measuring 3/4, and then I'm going to measure the opening, which is 1 inch. And I don't really need to know this because that's just the remainder, which if you do the math or measure it, it should be 3/4. So now I can draw my horizontal lines, and I'm only going to draw them where I know they're going to be, to this first construction line. Now I can darken the construction line only where it's supposed to be an object line, which is right here at this back surface, because this is all one continuous plane. While I have my triangle here, I can project this up. Do I see that corner in the top view? No. So that will, I know, is going to be a hidden line. It goes the whole way from front to back, so I know it's going to start at the front surface, and be a dashed line all the way to the back edge. I do need to fix this. This is open right here, and it's not an object line. So I need to erase this, or else it will be wrong. And it would be very confusing for somebody to make. Because what that communicates is this is a recess, and there's an edge here, and really there's nothing there. So now I can transfer this information over, and this height from this view, I'd actually see this as a little rectangle. So it's just going to go straight from left to right. And same for that top edge. It is a visible edge, so it is an object line. Last step is to look over everything, make sure I didn't forget anything else, and then clean up construction lines and object lines. At the very end, you would put your name here with 1/8 inch stenciled uppercase letters.